drum. What is the kick drum? It's an old kick drum that I've been using in many songs. To be honest, I don't use that many different. I just always tune them differently, and I would always put them in a sampler and resample them. I use sampler for my kicks. If I think my kick is too low, too high, I can just drag and drop another new sample, change the envelope and everything. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You can change the amplitude envelope, you can change the pitch envelope, which I actually did on this one. Basically a bunch of EQing. Equality that I use a lot. It's a linear phase EQ. It's really cool when you want to be more precise about things. I will group my drum and my kick and my snare together. And I like to keep my snare super short. Sometimes I'll layer, like in this case, but I barely use any reverb, any release, anything. As you can see, I just blah, cut the signal short. There's just 3 layers. I'll just clap, I guess. 2 very strong EQs. S1 stereo major from Wave. That's a cool one. Just another layer. They're pretty much identical. And a white noise. I love to use operator for white noise. You just go to the default operator and you go to the waveform and you choose noise white here, and it gives you this noise that's really flexible. You can use for so many things. So kick plus snare equals this. Yeah, super happy. I love to use splice for hat loops, and these are most likely a bunch of loops. See, I kind of mess with them here and there. You can change the pitch, you can change them up and down. You're not gonna see me use crazy VSTs and techniques beyond mostly just Ableton inbuilt effect and EQs. I'll use 65 EQs if I have to. There's comedy, 5 of them here. Some cool stuff in my drum though. This little thing here. That's a whisper. I usually put that as a hat as well. There's a little gunshot. It kind of adds to the little before the bass, the first hit of the song, which is really cool how I made that. I like to take whispers from just like leftovers from acapellas. Anything between sentence when someone is breathing, like you're gonna hear me breathe a lot. Actually, I got that big ass French nose over here, you see? You take that and you put 1 overdrive, 2 overdrive, 3 overdrive, 1 OTT. I put a little bit of reverb as well, and without that, it's just like a, see? The bassline, the bassline, the bassline! This whole song revolve around layering. Tons and tons of layering. There's 4 of them. And when you listen to it like that, it's not that crazy. You add the sub, and the sub is very simple as well, but the sub is really basic. So how did I do this main guy here? You have the main one that I just showed you, I would have resampled. And then you have the same one that I would duplicate and I drawn in a reverb. So I've got some nice shades too. Okay, 1 layer full of reverb. Just a full mix on it. That allows me to give a different control on it, on EQing as well. Equality, see, I've only kept this block of it, because the signal was like this. Obviously with the reverb fully on, and then I just EQ'd it again, sidechained it really hard, just to create some stereo effect. And yeah, this one is, it's a very basic, just again filtered. It just felt like it was missing, so you can sometimes just add another layer that just adds it. Oh, this one's pretty. Basic operator, okay. Again, you see, that would be like a race. This is like put together, plus the sub. Woohoo! So what's cool about this song to me is the background elements. You hear all the stuff going in the back? And that's something that's really important that I think is missing sometimes, but also sometimes it's too much of them, so you have to be really careful and tread lightly. I can't see anything with those, sorry. So we can take this little guy apart and see what it's made of. 1, 2, 3, 4 source. That's very basic. So okay, I'm gonna remake that for you. Operator's cool. It's kind of complex to mess around with all those FM algorithm, but the last one here, it just behaves like a normal synth with 4 oscillators. So you can go to this, the first one here, and choose a saw wave. You can right click on this boy, copy oscillator to all others, and then you can start detuning it with the fine tune here, you know. This is what I love Serum for that, is you have this massive crazy detune that you can apply on both oscillators at once. See this guy? So that's basically stacking 7, while I just did on operator with 4. That's the main bass. This little guy has a little octave up, so you can get another octave by adding copy A to B, an octave up. Then. I don't really use the effects on those VSTs. To add some stereo, the new delay is really great because you can use the ping pong mode and use the time mode, really short feedback so it doesn't bounce back and forth. And a short dry wet, and you can see how much stereo they just added. I love overdrive. EQ always. I'll always like scoop 500 on those. Then yeah, have a reference and then find a spot around it. Good old OTT, saturation. I always put those two together. Pretty much. All the Valhalla reverbs are great. What's always going to be on top is going to be my Sidechain Bus. So it's a volume shaper that is triggered via a MIDI signal here. Every time my MIDI signal is going to hit here, it's going to send a little sidechain, little MIDI message to my volume shaper, which is going to tell this shape basically to trigger. First one that I love is like you will take a random little sound and put a delay on it and freeze it, and you have sounds like that. Again, little reverb on it, and then a little autopan. For the stereo, if you want, you can have an LFO on it. This is all sent to the sidechain. Pretty much everything you see in the project, whenever you see it says track in, this is being sidechained. So pretty much everything you see is being sent for that one bus of sidechain over there, which has a lot of cool advantages. Like you see, I can EQ it, I can bit crush it. Sometimes apparently it's being bit crushed. I can filter it down and just keep the drums basically that are not affected. Yeah, background elements I like to have small rhythmical one. The good old horn sometime. Make sure you tune those. You can use Ableton's tuner. See? F sharp. A little vocal that are duplicated and vocoded. It just sounds cool. What is that guy? See, I resample that guy as well. What you can do is you can resample your synth, go into your clip, retranspose, and you can create those crazy funky ass pitch bend. That's what I did initially for this one. There. Woo! Could we see the master sometime? Yes. It all doesn't really make sense if you don't understand what's going on at the end. My master is very simple. I've got an effect during the build-up. That's just basically it's called a washout. It's an Ableton rack. It kind of like washes everything and adds some reverb and delay. It's cool for build-ups. So you can create an automation here during the build-up. 2 limiter. I usually work with one. I had a second one at the end to add some punch, but I don't do my masterings myself. I work with a homie that does them for me. Because otherwise I could do it myself, but otherwise I would just spend so much time doing it again and again and again. Switching headphones, it was just a headache for me, and it would make me hate my music. You know, so I try to work on my mix downs as much as I can and make the track sound as crazy good as I can using just a limiter that's just gonna affect the volume basically, and then I send it to someone that masters it, that just like kind of makes it a bit, you know, prettier. That means I don't go back to this project and touch it again. I can move on to new things. The vocals on this track. So when you have a track with a crazy a cappella like this one, you can chop bits of vocals here and there and have really a ton of fun. Chop the vocals, I pitch it down a lot. And the original version of the vocal is kind of happy, and I wanted to make... There's always a way to find darkness in something. There's always a way to flip something into like something crazy dark, and that's my mission, boys. When you see me add a bunch of EQ, that means that's when I do several passes. It means I get the sound right, I work on something else, and I'll go back to this, and I don't want to touch that EQ, so I'll add another one to fix something else. That's why you see me chain a bunch of them out. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. Do not probably do this. People in the chat are probably gonna be like, but Habby! But yeah, it works for me. You're not gonna see me like preach much here. I'm just gonna show you how I did it, rather than telling you this is the way. And it's got a lot of like little knobs that you can mess around with, like. But I just like it really natural like that. To me, just a perfect sine wave. And there's not much process on it. It's literally just a limiter to make it really loud. Compressor. And after that, IQ. This is kind of interesting what I do, but I don't know many people do that. Remove the high frequencies just in case. Sometimes you get some clicks with your compressor, and you get some clicks with your limits, and it's gonna go like all those like artifacts and distortion, and then EQing this just makes me remove it. Yeah, it just keeps things nice and tidy. And I love this guy here. That's another trick I'm gonna show you. So the new Ableton update has a really cool filter here that's called the Morph Filter. You can automate the Morph knob here, so you can take any sound like I've done here. But it's that filter that does everything. Without the filter, it's just... let me show you on like something pretty dramatic, the Morph, and you could... Oh, there's a sound that I really love in this track. Actually, is here. A very simple sine wave, but it's put through this distortion. That sounds very gritty and Daft Punky. And this sample straight from the modular. And then if you like mess it up again, tuner to make sure it was in the right key. Chorus for the stereo. Delay, same again. Isn't that sick? Erosion is great. It adds that really great grittiness to things sometimes, but it's also gonna mess up your mix. So don't put that when you have hi-hats playing, because it's just mess up everything. Stereo image is amazing. What's the best way to get good at producing fast? I like to set myself those little challenges where I'll just make a beat every like 30 minutes. You know, I set up a day where I'll be like, I'm gonna start 6 to 10 30 minutes beats ID, and every 30 minutes you set up a little timer and you just switch up, and you kind of like train yourself to be fast and go straight to the point.